First, let's pay homage to the lineage gurus, homage to the Venerable Mang Liao Ming, homage to Master Sakya Zhengkong, homage to the 16 Dharma King Karmapa, and homage to Master Dukden Dorji. Homage to the three jewels of the altar. And homage to the main deity of Homa today, the 36,119,500 Amitabha Buddhas with the same name and identification. Om Amitabha Se. Om 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 Amitabha Se. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Sisi So Soha. Amitabha Buddha, Avalokitesvara Bodhisattva, and Mahastama Prapta Bodhisattva, the three sages of the West. Simu, Tutan Siti Rinpoche, all Dharma masters, Dharma educators, Dharma teachers, Dharma lecturers, Dharma assistants, all disciples present here and over the internet, and the participating VIPs today. From the Ministry of Foreign Affairs for the NAACC, Secretary General Daniel Liao and Madam Liao, Dharma Sister Judy. And from Academia Sinica, the academician Professor Zhu Ziyi and Mrs. Zhu. And the professors group of the Buddha School, the distinguished Professor Wang Jingxian, Professor Wang Li, Professor Hong Xinyi, Professor Cai Guoyu, Professor Ye Shuwen, and Dr. Yu Jiangcheng, and Dr. Liang Caofan, and Medical Doctor Li Jun'an. And from Japan, Aomori University, from a professor from the MBA, Egawa-san. And from Taoyuan City, the representative to Zheng Wen-chan, Mayor, a representative, the secretary, girl. And the advisor to the Taoyuan Town Hall, Mr. and Mrs. Lee. For the Kaohsiung City Legislator, Mr. Xu. Mr. Xu Zijie. And the Director of the Congress Office, Mr. Chen. And the Vice Director, Ms. O. And the councilperson from Tainan City, Mr. Cai Wangquan. And for the Lotus Light Charitable Society of Taiwan, the President Lee. And the senior in His Holiness College from Zhongzhen Institute of Technology, Geodesy Department, the Associate Professor Zhen. So Mr. Shen Jieming. You know, even in school I couldn't pronounce this Chinese character. Even until now I still not sure. Mr. and Mrs. Zhu from the Jingyi Enterprise, the General Manager Tsang. From Malaysia, that took Mr. Li Mingguang and the Latin Miss Chen Meihua. And the president from the Tartan Culture Indonesia, Mr. Arjun Chen. And producers for the 9 stages of Great Perfection Dharma and Hivajra TV programs, Master Lian Yue. And the producers for the Kidney Dian Sang Shinten, Illuminating Your Heart from CTI TV Taiwan, Ms. Rebecca Shiyachi. And we would like to thank the president from the Jingyi Enterprise Company, Mr. Wu Guande, to donate 100,000 NT dollars for the meals today, and from the Xute chapter, Dharma sister Xu Ruiling, also 100,000 NT dollars. And the representative to the councilperson of Taichung City, Su Guoxin. Good afternoon, everyone. How do you do? In Cantonese. Indonesian and Malay. In Japanese.
Hola, amigo. 감사합니다. 사와디카.
Thank you for your participation in the ceremony today, and a Happy New Year. Today we had the Amitabha Tathagata Homa fire offering ceremony, and this deity is Grandmaster's personal deity or Yidam, Golden Mother, Amitabha, Buddha, and Siddhigarbha Bodhisattvas are the 3 most revered, respected Yidams of Grandmaster's practices. And there is an epithet for Amitabha. Namo 36 trillion 119,500 Amitabha Buddhas with the same name and identification. So with one chanting, we recite 36,119,500 Amitabha Buddhas. most people, when they chant Amitabha Buddha with the 6 syllables,
就是南无阿弥陀佛。
and that is Namo Amitofo. And there's some who recite the 4 syllable Amitabha Buddha.
阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛，阿弥陀佛。
So that's 4 syllable Amitabha. So in Buddhism, that's quite common.
那以后呢，阿弥陀佛的念
And
得多。
there are many, in the past it was like that, but there are many more versions in the future. I mean right now.
南无阿弥陀佛，南无阿弥陀佛，南无阿弥陀佛，南无阿弥陀佛，南无阿弥陀佛，南无阿弥陀佛。有这样子的念。
So there is also this version of chanting Amitabha Buddha. There are many versions. But in True Buddha School, we recite Namo 36,119,500 Amitabha Buddhas with the same name and identification. And I remember the Master asked, where did this come from? Is it recorded anywhere? This way of recitation? Yes, there is a record about this. So, in the early times when I studied Buddhism, I read a book, and the book was Nagarjuna's Pure Land writing, and there was an article by Nagarjuna that wrote about an old lady who vowed to recite Amitabha Buddha. And when we were little, we have like barrels that is filled with rice. Rice is very important, was very important then, but not these days. Only few. That you store rice inside the barrel. So this old lady vowed to recite all the grains of rice in that barrel. So with one Amitabha, she would place one rice out from that barrel. Ever since she was in her 60s, and then she entered into the 70s, and there was still a third left in the barrel. And then she was in her 80s, and there was still rice in the barrel. And she thought, oh, she couldn't finish her vow. So she felt bad and prayed to Amitabha and asked, what should she do? I vowed to recite as many as the grains of rice in the barrel, but with so many years she has not finished. So she asked Amitabha Buddha, and that night Amitabha Buddha appeared to her in her dream and instructed her to recite Namo 36,119,500 Amitabha Buddhas with the same name and identification, and then pour the rice out of the barrel. And she completed her vow. So she did recite this way and pour the rice, the grains of rice from the barrel, and then a few days later she went to the Western paradise, the pure Buddha land. So everybody now has learned this, and you start to apply them to other things and ask their master, can you recite Namo 36,119,500 Padma Kumaras? So I read that book in the Nagarjuna teaching this way, so I taught everybody this way. So this is for convenience, but normally you should recite the normal way. Only for emergency you would recite Namo 36,119,500 Amitabha Buddhas. Only when it's urgent, for emergency, not at the normal time. But Grandmaster normally also recite this, just for convenience. And then after reciting Amitabha Buddha, you also want to recite Lokeswara Bodhisattva and Mahastama Prapta Bodhisattva. For Kuan Yin, Lokeswara is Om Mani Padme Hum. And for Mahastama Prapta, Om Sisi So Ha. That's for Mahatma Prapta. So the three sages of the West. So every time I recite Amitabha, I would also recite the attendants to Amitabha, Lokeswara and Mahatma Prapta. So in your recitation, you want to recite them too. And that's the 6-syllable Buddha. So if you have lots of time, you can recite like this. So if you want to recite Amitabha Buddha very deeply and imprint it in your heart, so this is also a way of chanting Amitabha Buddha. In the past, we often recited long, slow, or fast, or lots, or little, and always have a yogic response to it, whether Grandmaster recited fast or slow. So in the Pure Land sect, you can also be reborn in the Pure Land. And if you practice Amitabha Buddha as your main deity, very fast you would be able to gain yogic response and go to the Western paradise. So why is Western paradise so popular, so well known? But the Eastern realm of the Medicine Buddha, the Lapis Lazuli realm, or the Northern Pure Land of Amoghasiddhi Buddha, and the southern Pure Land of the Ratnasambhava Buddha are not so popular? Why is it only the Western Pure Land, the West Pure Land or Western Paradise so well known? And according to the Taoist master In Xun, his research indicated that in India, they highly revere the West. They don't think that the sunrise is a big deal. But in India, for the Indians, they admire sunsets, the feeling of sunsets. So for Indians, they revere the sunsets. Although people also watch sunrise and sunsets, but they enjoy, they appreciate the sunsets more. The melancholic feelings that the day is about to end. So they especially revere the sunsets. And the sunset's always in the west, right? So the meaning of the Buddha, that Amitabha Buddha is in the Western paradise, because they greatly admire the sunsets in the West. That's why the Western paradise, Amitabha's Buddha land, is very well known. The sunsets are really gorgeous, but it is close to darkness. So it is really radiant and colorful, but it is also melancholic because the day is about to end. So that's why the Western paradise is extremely well known. So as we know, his practice, the mudra is the Amitabha meditative mudra and the mantra. Om Amitabha. Every time I walk and chant Amitabha Buddha at the Taiwan Lei Tsang temple, Amitabha Buddha will always descend. And just now Amitabha Buddha too descended and guided the disciples from Malang, Indonesia. 4 disciples was on that Air Asia flight from Surabaya to Singapore. 1 family, 4, 2 parents and 2 children, especially invoked them and guided them to the Western paradise. And I also added, because Amitabha Buddha guided them so I asked Amitabha Buddha to bring all passengers and crews from the flight to the Western paradise. So that's the compassionate heart. So only 4 of them, 2 Buddha disciples, and then Amitabha Buddha only looked for the 4 disciples and then ignored the rest? No. But they actually, they asked all the deceased from the flight accidents to go to the Western paradise. So as long as you see the Buddha, you would be liberated from the sufferings. So Amitabha Dharma practice or the Yidam practice is the great Dharma. A person asked Master Lona, which Dharma is the greatest? And Master Lona said, Amitabha Dharma is the greatest. All Buddhists of the world, all the Buddhists in the Eastern world, when they greet each other, they would say Namo Amitabha. They don't even recite the founder of Buddhism, but instead they would say Amitabha. We all recite Amitabha, Amitabha. They don't say Medicine Buddha or other Buddhas. They always say Amitabha. So Master Nona said, Amitabha Dharma practice is the greatest. And he is also Grandmaster Yidam. It's a news break. Please bless our Dharma ceremony, March 8th ceremony. Ask for the charitable organization that they have made the Mahamaya t-shirt, and each t-shirt is 350 NT dollars, and they hope that everybody would wear this t-shirt in attending the ceremony. And this is the t-shirt, Mahamaya t-shirt. Can you please spread it out? This is for gratitude, tolerance, love, and it also means Mahamaya or great illusion. The name of the Heruka is the great illusion. So she is marketing herself. Oh no, it's a charity. Master Lien Miao recently that her paintings was on the market in Hong Kong, and it is called the Heavenly City of Saraswati, of the wonderful sound. Her painting. It's like went public in this on the market. I'm not sure what that means. So it is available for sale. Does it mean it's on sale on the market? No. So in the international art market, it is available. So Master Lien Miao's paintings are national rating, but Grandmaster's paintings are self-rating. My paintings have no ratings. Anyone can buy them. But for Master Lien Miao's paintings, you have to go to that market in order to be able to purchase it. That's the difference between nationally rated, and self-rated. Now, let's continue to expound on the great perfection Dharma of Tantrayana. Now, on the chapter on the Bodhipattha, Pradipa, and Atisha. Let me read this, but it's not very meaningful. People have been surprised and curious seeing Guru莲生wearing yellow hat and yellow robe. They thought that Guru莲生has the direct lineage from Guru Padmasambhava, which is the Nyingma Pa, meaning red sack, so they should be wearing red hat and red robes, but why yellow? So in this statement, let me make a statement that it is ever-changing. Of course, Grandmaster has yellow hat and yellow robe, but Grandmaster also has red hat and red robe, and also the blue hat and blue robe, and also white hat. White hat? Yes, white hat and white robe. So, whatever I like, I would wear. Well, it may not be so, but Grandmaster has 4 lineages. The white sack, Kagyupa, from the 16th Dharma King Karmapa, and the red sack, Nimapa, the Venerable Mang Liao Ming. That's the. And Master Dukten Dorji is the lineage of the yellow sack or Gelugpa, and the lineage from the Sakyapa with all different colors. The Sakyapa, that's from Master Sakya Zhengkong. So Grandmaster has lineages from the 4 sects. So the outfits are changing. So some people thought that Grandmaster only has the lineage from the red sect, but no, Grandmaster has lineages from all the sects. Talking about changes, we all ever changing. Last time we already talked about this. The wife said to the husband, I want to learn how to swim, then I would lose weight. And the husband said, don't be a fool. Look at the whale. The whale is swimming 24 hours a day, and the whale is never slim. So swimming can make one lose weight. But the whales, of course, don't lose weight. Even that's the difference. Women these days, like celebrating New Year's, we just celebrated the Western New Year, and not long we will celebrate the Chinese New Year. And prior to the Chinese New Year, Simu will be back. But things are always changing. So let me state that first. So Grandmaster's outfit is also ever changing. The outfit that Sakyamuni Buddha wore was close to the ones worn by Thai monks, with just one piece of cloth and wrap it around the body. So the outfit worn during Sakyamuni Buddha's time should be close to the outfit worn by Thai monks. And then later on in Tibet, it became the Lama outfit. And then in China, it's also changed the color and the design. And in Japan too. And Taiwan. And for True Buddha School, we also changed it. We have 2 sleeves. And for the Tibetans, monks, they show 1 arm. Their Lama outfits. For the Tibetan monks, they would show 1 bare arm. But for us, it's rather different. The Tibetan Rinpoches and Tibetan Lamas, when they came and saw us wearing it this way, they think this is much more convenient, that you don't need to always worry and you have to tie their skirts. But we use elastics. They have to tie their skirt. They have an undershirt and an outer shirt that show 1 bare arm. And they need to lift up the precept sheet up and down. And there's meaning to that, which means if it's loosened, then you need to tighten it. And by doing that, you're reminding yourself to always watch for your dignified look, not for us. We would always look like this. Doesn't matter how we walk or how we move. We always have this dignified look. But for them, they always have to pull the precept sheet up, which is reminding themselves. And the Zen robe worn by the Mahayana Buddhist monks are different. They have like a button and a clip to hold them. So it also changes. So you're more relaxed when you wear the precept robe. The Zen robe, you don't need to always watch for them. But in Thailand or Southeast Asia or Tibet, they are more traditional. And yet in Taiwan and Japan especially, the monks wore all different colors. It's beautiful. It's like the samurais. So, is our outfit okay? Should we change it to like the samurai outfits with the straight shoulders and a black lama skirt and the black shirt with the white trimmings, and then with the samurai sword and samurai shoulder? Should we change our outfit? So we can always change them. So it's no big deal. Anything changes. So this question is acceptable. That's why in this article I will write the reasons why. In Tibet, prior to the era of Buddhism, there was a belief called Bon or Bonpo, or the black tradition or the black shamanism. The founder was called Shenrab Miwoche, who showed supernatural magics using spells, and he killed and harmed, and he had many followers in Tibet. His Dharma power was tremendous, and he could transform his enemies into animals, and he could make hills and ghosts and spirits, And he could also fly and created all kinds of illusions. Yes, done many evils. So prior to Buddhism in Tibet, there was a faith or a belief that's called Bonpo. So it's like the local faith, like animism. So they follow the animism. So they worship all trees and rocks and animals and all those spirits. So all the monks of Tibet, all are followers of the Bonpo. And then later on, Guru Padmasambhava entered into Tibet and transformed the Bonpo, some by subduing them and some by transforming them. And there's some oppositions, and there are also some mutually embracing. So when Guru Padmasambhava entered into Tibet, he subdued the Bon religion and transformed them to become family. So in the invocation prayer of Guru Padmasambhava, there was a statement to destroy the evil Bonpo tradition. I have said so that Guru Padmasambhava was the first person who destroyed Bonpo, and I'm the second one. And I wrote a book about the Bon, the black sect, and the black practice a long time ago. So there is a big difference between Buddhism and Bonpo. And Buddhism primarily is to entice all sentient beings to gain enlightenment. And this is the mission of Buddhism. So to teach all sentient beings to gain enlightenment, to become Buddhahood, to become Buddhas. But most shamanism or the early traditions or religions are only to gain. So for blessings, they don't teach you to observe the world, to comprehend the world, to comprehend yourself, to comprehend the human lives, and to comprehend that Buddhism has the ultimate truth, the true Buddha gates, Dharma gates, and to teach people to gain enlightenment. And away from this, it is not Buddhism. The rest would be, if you're sick, you would be cured. If you're evil, you would be straightened. And there's some religions to harm others. They use religions to harm others. So the Bonpo or the black sect was like that. So Guru Padmasambhava subdued the evils and destroyed the Bonpo. And in the year of 747, that at the time of Guru Padmasambhava, that there were some differences in Tibet, that Buddhism flourished in Tibet. And there were many monks in India, and they all entered into Tibet. And the Tibetan king also sent the Tunmi Sampuche to went to India to learn and to create Tibetan language based on Indian language. So the Tibetan language was based from the Indian language, which is completely different from the Chinese language. So the old Tantric Buddhism is the Nyingma, and then was created from the new Tantrayana Gelugpa at the year of of 971. So prior to the year 971 was the early Dharma propagation, and afterwards was the later Dharma propagation. And at the time of the old Dharma propagation, most people will not be able to accept them, and there are many lamas from Nyingmapa that gradually get sick. And the Tibetan king invited the Indian guru Atisha to enter into Tibet. And according to the Tibetan legend, Atisha was the reincarnation of Guru Padmasambhava. But is it really accurate? It's hard to say because it is just a legend. So that's why we sometimes say it is recorded. If it is history or it is a legend, there's a difference. There's some that's closer to the truth, to history, and there's some that's further away from the recorded history. So there's a difference there. So when Guru Padmasambhava was in Tibet, he said, after I left, that the Buddha Dharma in Tibet would deteriorate, and that if someone appeared as a monk and abide by the precepts and performing good fortunes and taking refuge in the three jewels and generating bodhicitta to teach people, then that would be my reincarnation. So he said that that would be his reincarnation. So Guru Tsongkhapa, the founder of the Gelugpa, was also the same. But the Bodhipatta Pradipa was written by Atisha. But the Bodhicitta Chitta Acharya was written by, say? So, sorry I missed that. Bodhipatta Pradipa was written by Atisha. So the Kadampa was and Kadampa was founded by Atisha, and then later became Gelugpa, was founded by Tsongkhapa. Was actually just like a changes to Kadampa. The son asked the dad that a bride in the ancient time, the groom would only be able to see the bride after they got married. Is that true? And the dad said, yes, of course. I think so. But the brides of this world, of today's world, would only show her real face long after marriage, after the wedding. So things will change after marriage. So in the company, the CEO and the manager was married, and then the president said, my wife must have been in menopause, that he's holding a knife and looking for a knife all over the house. And then the other manager said, but my wife was worse, and she's holding the knife looking for me around the house. So there's a difference here. So Buddhism in Tibet, there are many periods, many eras. The earliest one who was founded was the Sakyapa. That was recognized by the government, and from the Mongolian Pasabama. Which is the national guru of Mongolia that became that regimized, that was the Sakyapa, and then later on was the Kagyupa, the white sect that was recognized by the government. It's called the Patsu government. They established a government, and at the time or the period of Tsongkhapa, it changed again, and they became the Gelugpa, the yellow sect. So it's also ever changing. It just changes all the time. In Tibet, there's several different schools, different sects. The Sakyapa, the Kagyupa, yellow, Gelugpa. They all take turns. When Atisha entered into Tibet, he used the 5 precepts and the 10 virtues to guide people to generate bodhicitta. And that's why the Tibetans believe that Atisha was the reincarnation of Guru Padmasambhava. But Atisha, of course, was a Mahasiddha who had great attainments, and that's why he mastered both the Mahayana and Tantrayana, and also great perfection Dharma and all Buddha Dharma. And Atisha knew that the Nyingmapa of Tibet had some shortcomings, and what it missed precepts, and that's why the Nyingmapa lamas love pleasures and leisures, and that's not right. That's why Atisha taught and put great importance on the 5 precepts and 10 virtues, and greatly stressed on the precepts. So in here he wrote the Bodhipada Pradipa, and also showed and divided the Tantrayana into the three sagely paths. And then later on he went to Jambi, India, and paid homage, took refuge in Sarlingpa or Dharmakirti in Jambi. From India he went to Sri Lanka, and then to Indonesia, Sumatra, Jambi, and met Dharmakirti. And the Guru Salingpa Dharmakirti taught him a lot, including the green Tara, all the bodhicitta, and many other teachings. And Atisha went back to India from Indonesia, and later had attainments, become Mahasiddha, and then went to Tibet. So the temple that he built was the Kantan temple, and then later on he was also called the Kadam sect. So the pronunciation may be a little bit off. Kadampa, established by Atisha. So the Kadampa. So according to what I know, Kadampa is an evolution from the Nyingmapa. It was led by Atisha, and then later on the Gelugpa also put great importance on the ordination precepts and the way of the both Mahayana, the three vehicles of the Mahayana. And the founder of Gelugpa, Tsongkhapa, also researched the Bodhipatta Pradipa of Atisha and wrote the Bodhicharya Acharya, and also clarify the teachings of the three Sixthly Path. So that's why they're all ever changing. That actually the Gelugpa is the continuation of Kadampa.
有一个小学生跟爸爸去喝喜酒，看到新牛跟新龙。
So, elementary kid followed his parents to attend a wedding and saw the groom and the bride. And then the kid asked the dad, "Why do they select a good day for a wedding?" And the dad answered, "Because after weddings, there's no more good days." So the Jay-cho just got married. The singer, the famous Taiwanese singer. Not yet. Oh, he's getting married soon. You know, when a person and a person just get together, it is fresh and interesting. And after a certain period of time, it starts to change. The same when we wear clothes. At first, it's a new cloth, and then it becomes an old cloth, and then you just hang it there. You never wear it again. So everything is ever changes, including our clothes. In the past, Grandmaster often wear the 5 Buddha crown. Now, Grandmaster is wearing this pointed hat. Why? There's no why. So there's a difference with all the difference from all the other masters. Actually, it's all the same. It just changes. Sometimes you're wearing the same kind of hat and you just want to change. If you wear the same clothes for a while, then you change. Or shoes, you also change. So we all just change. And even as a human being, we also change. So change. There's a book of changes of China, Yi Jing. So the meaning of Yi is changes. Yi is changes. So it should have called the book of changes. So heaven, earth, thunder, fire, water, mountain, lake, and then from this, with all the changes and transformations to become all the myriad things. So that's the trigrams and the 8 trigrams, and it could be used as divination or as spiritual cultivation. There's also a sutra for spiritual cultivation. Some people use this Yi Jing for divination, to ask about lives. So the sacred and the mundane are different. A patient asked the doctor, "Do you have a miracle drug to cure my sleepwalking?" And the doctor replied, "Yeah, there's a special tonic. Just sprinkle things from inside the box around your bed and you would be cured. And the patient asked, what's inside the box? And the doctor replied, nails. So change. When you change, then there's no obstacles. You're unobstructed. So if you sleepwalk, then you just, you're being sting, and then you would wake up. So a lady asked a master, why my husband doesn't love me? And the master asked the lady, eat this cake. And the lady ate the cake. And the master asked, is it good? Yes, I want more. And the lady said, but master, now she still asked, why did you give me this cake to eat? And the master replied, oh, the lady asked, oh no, now I know. Because I'm greedy, I'm never content. And the master said, well, that's a good reason, because you're too fat. This is not so funny, this joke. It's too convoluted. Who gave me this joke? I don't need to talk about you anymore because you're already quite laughable. But people today are confused. Some people refer to Gelugpa as Kadampa, and some people refer to Kadampa as the Gelugpa. Actually, Kadampa came from the Kadam temple, and it's earlier. It's before the Gelugpa. And from the outfit, some people think that for the red sack, the outfit is red and white for the white sack, yellow for the yellow sack. That's actually a mistake, because any sects of Tibetan Tantrayana, those with positions would wear a deep red color, and then those with positions would wear yellow. Those without position would wear the Lama color, and with position would wear yellow, and also with the hats. There are many different kinds. At that time when I wrote that, I didn't specify it very clearly. There are actually many different kinds of outfits and also hats, and they all ever changes. So this character change is the most important Dharma seal of Buddhism. So everything is impermanent. This is one Dharma seal, and this means change. Because when you observe the world, everything is ever changing. Nothing stays unchanged. Because everything is changing, you cannot fixate on certain thing, and it teaches you to let go. And this is the ultimate truth of Buddhism. You need to let go of your fixation, of your attachment, that in the past your wife is this, and now my wife is that. And there's a difference. Why? Because there's change, and that's normal. That in the past your husband is this, and now your husband is that. Why is there a change? Because change is normal. So if you view it as normal, and then you accept it, then you would be able to let go of your fixation or hang-ups. Don't always think of the past, because the change is always there. The changes are always there. Every person will always change. Everything, any single thing will always change. Is undergoing changes. Nothing is fixed and permanent. And this is the key point of my Dharma teaching today. Nothing, not a single thing is eternally exists, fixed or permanent, not even love or romantic love, or not even any single being. So now you say you're a follower of True Buddha school, and not long you think that singing is good, and you like to sing, and you become a Catholic and join the choir. So there's a change. Or maybe you think that Muslim is good, then you become a follower of Muslim. Or you come from this religious school to another school. That's possible. So don't think that someone is bad when they go from this school to other school. Don't think that way, because everything is ever changing. So when there is a master, not a master anymore. He was guiding sentient beings, but instead he was guided by a woman. So even when that happened, you don't want to defame this master. Why? Because this is about change. The master is no more a master. Instead, he marries a woman and left his monkhood, and you cannot defame or berate him, because this is change. His bodies change, anything changes. We cannot be attached to any single thing. If you don't have this attachment or fixation, then you have no suffering. If you have attachment, then you would be suffering. If you love someone too much and that person left you, then you would suffer. If you love your children too much and the children left you, you would suffer. If you love something too much, and that thing would bring lots of afflictions and suffering to you. So, a Dharma gate of Buddhism, you need to know that everything is impermanent. So when there is a change, you need to observe it. And once you observe it, then you would have peace of mind and ease of mind. Why? Because everything is changes, and that's normal. Om Mani Padme Hum.